I feel like it's 6 minutes already. Welcome, everybody, to the Rye Town Council meeting of September 19th, 2017. Please rise, and will Jill Axelrod lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest of all its residents. A moment of silence for the people that have been harmed or displaced by the storms in the southern half of the United States. And please keep our first responders and military personnel in your prayers. Thank you.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Lindsey Jackson.
Present.
Councilperson Thomas Nardi.
Present.
Councilperson Anthony Baxter.
Here.
Councilperson William Villanova.
Here.
And Supervisor Gary Zuckerman.
Present. Our first item on the agenda is a presentation regarding the 2017 internship program.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Payan, and for the past 7 years, my colleagues and I, David Thomas, Gregor Carl, please stand up. We've been directing the Town of Rye Summer Internship Program. And basically, what the program is, it's a 5-week program which encompasses a series of workshops, which entails job search skills, resume writing skills, and interviewing skills as well. The remaining 4 weeks is what we call on-the-job skills. And this is basically when the interns are working at the employers. And basically, it's the whole gamut, crossing from community partners, local businesses, and local governments as well. This year, we had 14 employers, of which half of that were new. So here we have Burns Advisory Group. David Burns is here with us. We have the Westchester Housing Authority, Serendipity Labs in Rye, State Farm Insurance, the Nimble Temple, and the Village of Amerenik. Tonight, we have several interns with us, which I would like to introduce to you. Interns, please come up. So if you could please say your name, what school you go to, where you interned, and your overall experience.
Hello, my name is Ryan Ucker. I attend Westchester High School, and for the 2017 summer internship, I interned at the Westchester Police Department. And working at the police department, I figured out how to deal with people, help people fix their problems, and I had a really fun time. People were really nice. I got to do a lot of cool things, like meet some of the police officers, go to some really interesting places. And I couldn't have been there without going to the workshop, which I think helped me during the interview how to act accordingly. And I think overall I had a really good experience. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Terrific.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Delgado. I attend Westchester High School, and during the internship program, I worked for the Housing Authority in Westchester. This was a great experience. I learned basic office and job skills that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. The people there were nice. It was a great experience overall, and thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Miguel Delgado, and for the and I attend Westchester High School. For the summer internship program, I also worked at the police station. I worked with Ryan, and the overall experience was very positive. I really enjoyed it. It taught me a lot of skills. Like it was a great learning experience. It helped me, and I wouldn't be able to get the job without the workshop. Those two worked like very well together. Without the workshop, it taught us all like how to make our resumes and how to do normal. It taught us how to behave on the job. It taught us all the skills that were necessary for us to have a good experience in it. And overall, it was a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Calderon, and I also attend Portchester High School. And this summer for the internship program, I was paired with the Town of Rye Tax Clerk Office. And my overall experience there was very positive, although I won't say that scanning papers all day is very exhilarating. But I really got a taste of what the political and government aspect of our town is like. And I also enjoyed the workshop. It really helped me with the interviews this time around. And I feel like I've really gotten a lot of experience out of it. And I enjoyed it very much.
Did you work for Mr. Mecca?
Yes.
Aha. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. We also have some employers here with us. Hope, David, if you want to say a couple words. Right.
The intern that was assigned to me was Christina Vargas, and she's not here.
Who are you, by the way?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Dave Burns. I'm the town controller, but I'm also president of Burns Advisor Group, Inc. So Greg and Dave reached out to me and provided me information about the intern program. So I participated this year. It was a terrific experience. And our summer months is our slower months. And we got a lot of our files reorganized and prepared for 2017 tax season. So I'm in communication with the intern who possibly may work for us part-time during the off season.
That's great. Great.
So.
Thanks, David.
Hello. My name is Hope Vesby. I'm the town clerk. And I was very grateful to have Emmanuel come with us again this year. I know scanning could be boring, but it's something that had to be done. And indexing the scanning and doing it was important to have it done with excellence. And Manny did the job. We call him Manny. And I asked him to come back next year. So he was just very focused, he just was a terrific worker. He never stopped. He just continued until it was time for him to go home. So I was very pleased with him.
Maybe,
And Nick the same.
maybe next year we can give Manny a job other than scanning. Step him up to photocopy. No, I'm sure that there's some very, very productive work for you to do.
Great, thank you. So next here we have a list of our interns, where they're from, what high school, and an employer where they worked at. It's a total of 15 students. Now we're going to show you a couple of photos. This was actually on July 14th on speed interviewing. You can see here you have State Farm, the Portchester Housing Authority, Serendipity Labs. You have Mr. John Mecca and Teresa Morgan on your right from FSW, Family Services Westchester. Now some of our interns, we have Kittel. She interned at FSW, Alejandra at Sustainable Portchester Alliance, and Emily at the Nimble Timble. Emmanuel, the tax office and Town of Rye clerks. Khalib at the Village of Mamaroneck, and Christina Vargas at Burns Advisory Group. Moody at Serendipity Labs, Marcella, she's wearing glasses at State Farm, and Anthony at the Portchester Housing Authority. Santiago at the Carver Center, and Aaliyah at the Planning Department at the Village of Portchester. And finally, graduation. So this took place at Cousin Frankie's in Portchester, and we have David Thomas leading our graduation ceremony. Just another photo here from our employers and interns.
Who's that guy in the jeans?
Good looking guy.
So hopefully you can see this. So since 2012, we started to benchmark and evaluate our program. And here you can see it's a 4-point scale to excellent, good, fair, and poor. And this is a 2-point scale based on excellent and good. And here you can see how we compare to the last 2 years, in 2016 and 2015. You have some job search skills, 86%. Resume writing, 78. Interviewing skills, 93. Interview with employers, 93. And on-the-job skills, 93. Here you notice that we don't have any data for computer skills. Basically, we decided that we wanted to home in and focus more on the resume writing and the interviewing skills. We asked our students, how likely would you be to recommend our job readiness workshop to your friends? And the vast majority, 86%, say they would. We also asked them, what activities did you find most helpful? So this is an open-ended questions. And here you can see going over your resume was very helpful. The activities that you showed, how to write your resume, the mock interviews and the writing resume, and of course the mock interviews. So basically the students felt that the resume process, the development was just crucial for them, and also with the mock interviews. Next we have our employer evaluation. And here we see here's 60% have participated in the past and 40% are brand new. How would you rate the interview session on July 14th? Overall, basically, people say it was very good. How would you rate your experience in the last 4-week internship? It was excellent, about 3/4. And this chart here is very interesting. So here we see that 93% basically rated attitude as excellent. And that was something that we kind of home in when we were doing our job readiness workshop. Other areas that we need to work on is basically communication with clients and their attire. So this is some learning experience here for next year. That's something that we need to focus on. We also ask employers, what is your preference in terms of having an intern? So it's definitely in high school and over the summertime. So we asked employees about the interview session. You know, their 2 cents. And the interview session went well. I would ask for copies of resumes earlier and prior to the interviews. Definitely viable. The speed interview process is a bit long, maybe shortened into a 5-minute conversation. I'm sure the kids have an idea of who they want to work with going into the interview. So the speed interviewing process was 8 minutes by 15 students. So it was 2 hours. We did provide pizza at the end just to we can mingle with the employers and the interns as well. But this is something we can definitely take into consideration. Again, overall, very happy with the session. I had no problem. I believe the interview session went as well developed as it could be. Therefore, I do not believe changes are in order. Specific outline for information taking less time. So again, going back to the matrix of our time, and also just having resumes prior to the speed interviewing would be helpful. And then we also got their feedback on the 4-week internship. So the vast majority of employers noted that they would love to extend our internship. Vast majority said 6 weeks. I would say a 6-week internship would be more helpful. We'd love to have had our intern for a longer period of time. We would like more time with our interns. They really started cooking with the rhythm of the job after 3 weeks. We felt like the intern had to leave right away in her highest potential. So really, 4 weeks is only just breaking the ice. So it's really, it takes about a couple more weeks. And if we could expand our program, that would be fantastic. But again, that would be up to the town of Rye. And so that's basically it. It was our internship program.
Thank you, Alex. Questions from the council people? No?
I guess this would be directed towards the young people. When you did your interviews, did you get a sense of what you may want to do for your future career, or what you don't want to do?
Anybody?
Did you develop an interest? I know the two gentlemen who worked with the police department, was that something that kind of piqued your interest in law enforcement? Yes. And then the other gentleman worked with Housing Authority, and I know Emmanuel worked with the tax receiver department. Did that kind of pique your interest in public service, or?
Yeah, maybe in the future, if my other choices don't work out.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Hey, you can't go wrong.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you, Alex.
Oh,
Thank you.
I just have one more question. I guess this is directed to the gentlemen who run the program. I see that you've sort of, your new employers have become more private business. Are you trying to put an emphasis on the private businesses as opposed to the sort of more public options?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, what we did differently this year, it's basically we just casted a wider net in our community. If it's Red Brook, Right Neck, and Portchester. And that's how we came about with the Housing Authority, the Nimble Timble. We just reached out to them, and they were like, oh, wow, this is a fantastic program, and yeah, definitely, I want to participate. And so, you know, there's others out there that I'm sure they would be enticed to participate.
And do you guys have a set amount of slots that you?
15.
15.
In terms of the employers, or?
In terms of the students that you take in?
It's 15.
15.
You know, we budget because the town pays
Yeah,
part of
a
it, and
portion
the
of the
employees
salary.
do.
I mean, we would love to have more if it's doable. So 20, 25.
Well, that'll be up, part of it is up to the council to make a determination when we go into budget season. Alex?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say thank you. I keep
no,
saying
yeah,
anybody
no.
else, and
Well-
as I'm saying thank you, they jump in.
Well, I was just thinking of how the kids feel about if they went to a 6-week program, if they would be committed to it, to go the extra 2 weeks. Yeah, I see everybody's heads nodding yes. Okay.
The supervisor's office had an intern as well, and she was so good we asked her to stay on for an extra week.
Okay.
That says something.
And how are the participants selected, the students?
Sure. So we promoted the program on social media, e-blast, email marketing, and just throughout the community, so the Chamber of Commerce, the high schools.
Right.
I believe Emmanuel's father, he wants to make a quick comment here.
Sure.
Good evening. My name is Manuel Calderon, and the only thing I have to say, thank you very much for this opportunity for my son. My daughter is in the band at the high school, so she had practice today. She couldn't make it. And thank you to the internship program. I think that's very helpful for the boys in Portchester and Rye. It's a very good opportunity. So they have to know that the money doesn't grows on trees or something. They have to work hard for money. Like
That's a good lesson.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take
And
care.
you're very welcome.
Do the employers give the interns recommendations at the end of the internship?
Sure, yeah, they definitely
Walk
could.
away with- So the interns walk away with something that they'll always have to show prospective employers.
Exactly, right. And then vice versa, employers are giving a certificate on behalf of the town of Rye. So,
Yes. I
And-
signed a lot of certificates.
And I'm almost wondering, because the feedback was so positive, if maybe, there is a way to sort of reduce the percentage of the salary paid by the town so we can accept more students, so we sort of stay steady in the cost but are able to expand it.
Always thinking, Lindsay. Saving the town money, okay.
No, well, it's also important, I know, my father works in the family court system with juvenile delinquents, and, I think that programs like this are important to give kids an outlet so that they have a bright future and not.
Speaking of the future, Alex, I'm sure you have the historical data or the contact for the students that participated in the program and that left, obviously, high school. Can we get a report, an update on the student? We don't need to necessarily know the names, or, we know some of the kids. But if we can get an update on where they are now, that would be a perfect way, I think, also to showcase the program, that, these 15 students were here in 2010, and where are they now? And let's see where they are, and I think that that's a great opportunity to showcase the program
It's a
and the
good idea,
students.
Bill.
Sure. Actually, I
great.
could give you one example. We have one of our interns from 2012, Gregory Montoya. He's currently now in San Francisco doing an internship for the CIA, Culinary Institute of Arts. And that's just one example. And then we also have Brian Kerr. He's currently working on his law degree.
We know Brian?
Right.
Yeah?
So,
That's great.
Yep,
Thank you.
definitely. No, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, David. Thank you, Greg. Very much appreciated. Next item. Leonard Tarr, Troy and Banks. We approved a contract last month. Tell us about your firm and what you're doing for us.
First, let me thank you for approving our contract. Okay. We've been in business for about 27 years, and we started doing forensic accounting for utilities and on telecommunications for lots of businesses across the scope, manufacturers, profits, nonprofits, municipalities like yourself, hospitals. Some of our notable clients are the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Lincoln Center, New York Stock Exchange, Freedom Tower. We have quite a long list. And what we do is on a contingency basis, we do audits of your telecommunications, your utilities, and if you had a cable contract with your cable company, I don't believe you have a cable here, at least, and we do it on a contingency basis. We get an authorization from you that you've already signed that allows us to go to the utilities, and in New York State we can go back 6 years and look at records for 6 years, and hopefully, or not hopefully, we'll find errors, discrepancies, tariffs that are inappropriately labeled or misplaced. In many instances, we don't find anything, and we give the client the comfort of knowing that your bills are being paid properly. In addition to having delivered refunds in the millions of dollars to people, we also save money for them on a going forward basis by finding things that are inappropriate in there, a misplaced tariff, data, telephone lines that you're paying for that you don't exist. And So that's on a going back. On a going forward basis, with the deregulation of electric and gas that you have in New York State, we can help you on your procurement as well. Okay, and we're also working in your particular case. We have a strategic relationship with a company that does turnkey LED lighting programs. And since we do street lighting and do assessments of that nature, you know, we hooked up with someone who we've introduced Debbie to, and then she'll, you know, do her due diligence. She was very good in extracting from me lots of information, you know, to build a real due diligence file. You know, we've won lots of RFPs in New York State and all over the country. In New York State, we're fortunate to have the Controller's Office some years ago sponsored an amendment to the general municipal law that allows you to piggyback on an RFP if that RFP is written in such a way where there are certain requirements that the controller looks for that allows you to piggyback. And since the Rockland RFP, which we won, that you've piggybacked on, we've won RFPs in Erie County and Herkimer County, City of Olean, Smithtown. I'm from Long Island, Smithtown, and we've had any number of municipalities like yourselves who've piggybacked and taken the advantage of the ability to save your time, money, and resources by getting a good rate and hopefully a very good vendor, which we believe we are. You know, so typically I'm making these presentations before you sign the contract. In your particular case, it's slightly different. But
have you, now that the contract was signed, have you found anything yet?
No, it's too early.
Oh.
Okay. So let me give you just on the typical timeline on the audit side. Okay. So we now have the authorization to go to the to your utility, telephone, or electric, gas, whatever the case may be. They don't necessarily jump through the hoop to give us the information. I mean, they know what we're coming for, so sometimes we get a little pushback, okay? And so it generally takes us 2 or 3 months until we get all your records. Then the audit actually starts, and probably about 6 months, 7 months before we start to find, or if there is to be found, errors or discrepancies. And when we do that, we actually come to you, show you what they are, and ask you if you want us to proceed on. You know, and we will carry that right through the end until you recover a check. You know, and we only get paid when you do get a check or a credit on your bill. The money comes to you, not to us. We will bill you after you receive the money. Okay. On the procurement side, we work with a lot of companies called ESCOs. They're electrical service companies called ESCOs. And we get paid from them. We don't get paid from you. So what we will do is we will present you what the current market looks like, whether you want to go month to month, whether you want to go a 3-month contract, 6-month contract. You know, you'll make those decisions yourself. You can go in and out. You can go in and out monthly if you choose to. But we will get paid from the escrows on that side. We also have energy curtailment programs, which may or may not work for you. You know, to where if we can help you analyze how to reduce your power load during peak hours, utilities give incentives for that kind of program. You know. On the LED program, again, there'll be an analysis of your street lights. There'll be analysis given to you exactly of what they think that they can
We
do.
don't have streetlights.
You don't have
Yes, we
streetlights?
do.
Well, we do.
The park.
We have
yeah.
park lighting.
Just in the park.
There are no streetlights in the town?
In the village of Rybrook.
Village of Rybrook.
In Crawford Park.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have some streetlights. Crawford Park and.
Well, what I'd like to have you do is when you get an opportunity,
Yes.
maybe sit down with professional staff from the town and get a better understanding of the dynamic of the municipality, what we do, what we have, what we don't have, because there's a possibility that Portchester, Rybrook, or the town, or Rhinex section, Mamaroneck, may be able to piggyback onto our agreement.
Sure.
because they would have the benefit of a greater benefit or greater opportunity to participate in any kind of street light program.
Well, that would be
So
good
our street lights, night lights that are in the parks are limited. You know, it's nothing as, you know, in the thousands that a municipality may have. So I would probably suggest you do that.
Sure, right. You know, I live on Long Island, and virtually every town in Long Island has a program for they have street lights. Most of them have street lights, and they're in the thousands, and they're all moving toward LEDs.
Right.
All of them, all of them. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to field your questions. Who would be that gentleman, sir? Who would be that gentleman that we should?
That would be Debbie Reisner.
Oh, work through Debbie, okay.
Yes.
Oh, great.
It's very simple. Or you can reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to give you
Oh, no,
an
working
overview.
through Debbie has been great. I have to say that. She's...
She's much more pleasant than Billy is, I
Well,
I would agree. I could be pretty rough sometimes.
And if I could just add, putting on my sustainability hat for a minute, this is something we've talked about at the Sustainability Committee, and in our movement from a registered climate smart community, which we currently are, and we're looking to become a certified climate smart community. And one of the things that is on an extensive checklist that we're looking to accomplish is changing out the streetlights.
Sure.
So I think Billy's suggestion about getting the villages involved, because while the town is limited in what we have, we represent 3 villages, and their streetlights,
Yeah,
I would imagine they would want.
I can't imagine
Mention this.
actually that the villages haven't already looked into this, but Debbie could double check with the
Well,
village manager.
On Long Island, it was a little easier in the sense because Lilco gave the streetlights to the towns. They actually gave it to them, so they didn't have the streetlights existed. The towns didn't have that cost. They had the cost of changing it out. But,
Excuse me.
but
Yes, Fred? I figured. Thank you. Robert already did it. Streetlights.
okay.
That's our IT guy.
I know Portchester's done
That's your
parts
IT
of
guy.
theirs too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we could check with Portchester. My guess is that Portchester's already, if they've either done it or in the process,
Main Street.
and if not, we'll talk to them.
Absolutely, and we'd be happy to work with them or any other communities here. I recently signed the town of Soma's up here also, piggybacking, and I'm working with a couple of others who haven't come across yet. But maybe they will, maybe they won't. But we're happy to work for you. And by the way, to the extent that you get recoveries or credits, it carries interest at 8%, 18% an annum. It's the same way the utility can charge a customer 1.5% if you don't pay your bill on time. In reverse, it happens in reverse well, so it's significant. Could be significant.
We'll look for the money soon.
Well, if if you find the money, of course, we have a revenue sharing arrangement, but it's very reasonable
I know.
given the risk that we have all the upfront risk, and in terms of the cost. But I'm happy to be here, and if you have any other questions, if you could give them to Debbie, I'd certainly, if anything you think of after I leave.
All right.
Thank you.
I
Terrific.
have one, I know that we're, as we're discussing energy savings, Crawford Mansion there's going to be some exciting things happening there as far as renovations and a lot of construction work. Is it possible to sort of find out ahead of time before we begin the construction work where the cost savings may be from our lighting, et cetera, so that it's less costly to move forward?
Debbie has talked already to our energy consultant and advisor, and we did mention Crawford Mansion was mentioned, and when that's going to kick in, she mentioned the construction. So, we'll certainly make sure he continues to be available to her to point out, some of the things that may be beneficial to the town and saving the town money, in the construction or, going forward in warming, keeping the lights on in the mansion, whatever the case. Okay.
Well, we're looking to come as close as we can when we do the reconstruction to a LEED certification.
Yes.
We're not
Oh,
going to
LEED
actually get it, but
certification, okay.
it's a very, it's
a
an old
very-
building, but we'll be putting new insulation and new lighting.
Okay, well, I guess that's because you're a forward-looking town, and, you mentioned compliance.
We
You're
like to
green.
think that.
You're
We're
green, you're a
green.
green
We
town.
are.
You're a green town, okay.
Anthony is our sustainability guru.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if guru is the right word.
Well, they introduced themselves
I
that
choose
way.
to
Yeah.
use it.
That's right.
All right.
Anything
Thank you.
else
Guru.
for me?
Nope.
Did you get that?
Thank you, Mr. Tar. Thank you for the
Thank you
presentation.
for having me.
You're
Debbie,
very
thank
welcome.
you.
Guru headgear.
Thank you for making the drive, Leonard.
Sure.
Do you really want to leave? It's too much fun.
Let's discuss our community service project at Crawford Park.
That's me. As long as I'm standing here. So,
Can you get taller, please? I can't.
I've been asking that all my life. Although I can go for a handheld here if you'd like.
No, go ahead.
Through a series of conversations that I've had with people involved with the town government, it seemed to me that there are some wonderful projects around the community that lend themselves to young people getting involved and community service projects. Actually, not only for young people, but for other people who want to give back to their community. One of those projects is the picnic benches at Crawford Park, which are old and looking very weather-beaten. But a closer look showed that they're still usable. They just look icky. And so we have I've organized a community service project. We've identified a weekend 2 weeks from now. So on Friday, October 6th, and carrying over onto October 7th, we are reaching out to the young people of the town of Rye, middle school students and high school students. Hopefully we'll get students from a variety of schools who will have a chance to work together on working groups that they'll meet each other and work with friends. And this is being sponsored by a local painting company, Palette Pro, which was founded in Portchester, and also the local Portchester store of Sherwin-Williams. They are sponsoring this event and providing equipment and paint and rollers and know-how and a couple of pros to, so Friday afternoon, starting at the end of school, 2:45 to I think 6:45, we'll be doing the prep work, sanding and getting ready to paint, and then on Saturday between the hours of 11 and 3, anybody can show up and help paint. We do ask that people register in advance with our office. Sarah Suma is going to be keeping track of who has signed up, so we have enough equipment, we have enough pizza, and we'll be getting those picnic benches refinished and ready for more years of service.
Thank you.
This is, I
Any
think,
questions?
I just wanted to say this is a great idea because not only are you using what the town already has as far as the picnic benches, but we're also using the resources available to us with the local businesses and the manpower. So this is an ideal example of government at work efficiently.
Thank you. Well, we're hoping is that this is going to become a squad, that we've got plenty of projects.
Oh, yes, I know. Sarah, have you received any? Not yet. Okay. And has Rhinebeck High School and middle school, have we reached out to them?
We most certainly have.
Okay.
That was, because I'm from Rhinebeck.
Yes.
Yes, that was, it gave me tremendous pleasure to reach out to my old buddies in the guidance office and to send the flyers, and I know that that the superintendent has also been contacted.
Great. And I know I'd mentioned the Rhinebeck Boy Scouts. I'm waiting to hear back from them, but as soon as I get an email address, I'll send that over
Yeah,
to them
if you
as
would
well.
send it to me and also to Sarah, she'll make sure that happens. I've already spoken to representatives from the band camp, and
Great.
so the flyer has already gone to them as well, and a member of the Portchester School Board who's distributing it to participants in the baccalaureate program who desperately need community service hours. So this should be filling a need.
If this works out really well, you can also paint the benches down at the Wright Town dock.
Yes.
Because
Well,
they need to
yeah,
be.
we're going to have to get all the
Well, that
rust
could be in
off
the,
of those.
Yeah, that'll be in
Yeah,
the springtime, you know.
Yeah, although I have been contacted by a member of the community who's going to be helping to supervise the painting project, and he himself is going to be donating a bench for the town dock, and has apparently found 2 other people to donate
Okay,
brand new benches as well.
okay.
That's great.
That's great.
Terrific. Thanks, Jeff. May I have, we have minutes from August 15th. I hope everybody's read them. And if so, if there are no changes or amendments, may I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public comments on non-agenda items. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? Nobody wants to speak. Okay.
Not to turn back the agenda, I'm so sorry, but I just think, as far as the businesses who are donating their knowledge and supplies, et cetera, would it be possible to do a proclamation or something to show our appreciation for them?
That's a good idea.
This
Sure.
way? Yeah,
That would be up to the council.
We can do that.
that would
When
be.
does a council vote on this stuff? The supervisor signs all these proclamations.
You know, I mean, for the most part,
We
I
can do that, of course.
while I agree with recognition for what they've done, I don't think a proclamation is warranted. We're not going to create, you know, a specific day in honor of painting these benches, but I do think it's appropriate and obviously well within the purview of the supervisor's office to create a certificate of merit for them. I think that's fine.
Right. Yeah. People who provide services to the town of Rye deserve some recognition along the way. And the level of the recognition will depend on the level of the service that's provided to the town.
Agreed.
Okay? All right, we're, resolutions. We have a resolution on tree service. This is for the arborist. And, Debbie, I guess, this is a piggyback item. Is that correct?
That is correct. So as part of the town's RFP that we put out in May, we were searching for vendors that would provide landscape maintenance, also for tree clearing and also for snow clearing. So in the case of and these are contracts that we're awarding separately. In the case of the tree clearing RFP, it became clear when we were doing the analysis of the 2 responses that we received that the contract that the Village of Rybrook had with Central Tree was more advantageous. And so rather than issue a contract for the proposers...
Rather than making an award of the
Thank
of the
you.
bid.
Thank you. Rather than making an award, we are exercising the option to piggyback on Rybrook's contract.
And
One thing I would point out, that the contract, that as the resolution states, not to exceed 52,000 and change.
this one is 42.
42-2.
No, it's 42.2.
Right. The total
995,
contract.
995, right?
Total contract for 52,150.
Correct. The resolution and our contract is identical to, we're basically joining Rybrook's contract. So the terms are the same. However, we have no intention of reaching that kind of a threshold. We're going to stick to our own budget numbers for tree care and maintenance.
Right, this isn't a contract and people are gonna go to work tomorrow. This is a contract that is pre-bid.
As needed.
As needed, and it could be as little as $120 and as expensive as $3,750 per unit.
If we have a tree limb, it could be $40.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
A second.
Call the roll, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Jackson,
Aye.
Councilperson Nardi,
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter,
Yes.
Councilperson Villanova,
Yes.
and Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes. Next resolution is for snow removal.
Once again, this is in response to the RFP that we put out. Of the bidders, the lowest responsible bidder was John Zick Landscaping.
May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackson,
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi,
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter,
Yes.
Councilperson Villanova,
Yes.
and Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes. And last resolution tonight is to appoint Vince Toomey as our Labor Counsel. Mr. Toomey was appointed last month as Labor Counsel for the Rytown Park Commission. We have some labor issues that we need to deal with, not the least of which is working on a new personnel policy and other, obviously, personnel issues as they come up. This is based on a monthly a rate, on an hourly rate. There is no set amount. As we need Mr. Toomey, he will be engaged on a per item basis. May I have a motion and a second?
Can I ask one question about this? And it's
Let's
somewhat
have a motion and a second. then.
motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Discussion, please.
Do we have a personnel handbook?
We do.
We do. So every new employee theoretically is given a handbook. They're made familiar. There's an orientation period.
Every employee is given a handbook. It's redistributed every year, and we collect a signature page from every employee so that they acknowledge that they've received it and they understand what's in it.
Good.
That said, the last time it was updated was 2008, apparently, so it's
So
time.
it hasn't been every
Yeah,
year.
so that's why we would like to remain as current as possible. And obviously, individual issues come up from time to time dealing with employees. And even though we have a wonderful staff, sometimes there are issues. And to have Labor Counsel already on board is a great benefit for us. Not to take anything away from our town attorney, but that is not his specialty.
Do we have a cause to go into executive session tonight?
No.
Okay.
Now, oh, sorry.
Further discussion?
Yes, this contract is separate from the Rytown Park one, right?
Yes.
So every time we use this attorney for Rytown Park, it would be separate.
Yes,
Then the town's
there's a
cost.
one, yes, a separate resolution was passed, and a separate agreement will be executed for each entity.
And just as a point of interest, as far as the employee handbook, does that also go to Rytown Park employees, or is that separate? That's just for purely Rytown employees?
The Rytown Park does not have an employee handbook, and we the way Westchester's civil service department recognizes it, the employees of Rytown Park are on the Town of Rye's list. So if there is a matter of policy that has to be decided, that in the absence of its own policy, the town policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
If my memory serves me correctly, the only thing that was ever created for the employees of Rytown Park were, and Tom may remember, is job descriptions. So each employee received not a handbook, but a description of his or her duties.
There's an operations manual
Right.
that serves as a personnel handbook, but it doesn't go very far. But it does cover some basic personnel matters. It needs to be addressed.
And that'll be addressed as we go along. The season is ending at the park, but I'm sure that when we get our new manual up and running for the town, then the Park Commission will piggyback, since that's the word of the day.
That is the word of the
We'll
day.
probably piggyback on that manual.
Is that something that Mr. Toomey is going to assist us in? Is
Yes.
the creation and the updating of the, okay.
And now, are we going to be piggybacking with the town of Rye too?
We are the town of Rye.
I mean, with the Park Commission? With this,
No,
with the Mr. Tooney? Is that also like a piggyback?
No,
It's
the-
not a piggyback
it's
in
not a
that we
piggyback.
each have our own contracts,
Okay.
but they're identical.
They're identical, okay.
You know, when you're speaking to Mr. Toomey, and if this is where we're going, please remind him that we need a computer and device policy for all employees and elected officials. And just a question, I guess we should also find out, only because we have seen the situation where we've had the city of Rye take action against the town of Rye, and I don't, would there ever be the cause or reason that Mr. Toomey is caught between
No,
acting in one way or the other?
No, because these are labor issues. We're not.
Right.
and
All right.
The issue between the city and the town is nothing to do with labor matters.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
Councilperson Villanova?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, thank you. We have a finance report that has been submitted. Debbie, do you want to comment on this at all? Because I see we don't have the finance team here,
Dave?
except for Dave. Dave, do you want to comment?
Did you say Davy or Debbie?
I said Debbie, but actually I was thinking because it was prepared by MMJ. Do you have it? You just got updated, okay. So. I know. When we get to you, you can talk about that.
So since, just to, since we're talking about finance, do we have the calendar, Dave? Do we have the budget calendar yet?
We do have the budget calendar that is submitted by the state, so
Right.
those dates are set.
Where are we, could you remind us of those dates? Do you recall?
I don't have them offhand.
But I know the clock starts ticking in October.
Right. The tentative budget submitted, I believe October 30th is the submission for the tentative budget. But we are starting the process earlier, and we have monthly financials to go by, year-to-date numbers. So we're actually starting the process this month and, getting information out to department heads on year-to-date numbers. So we'll be starting out early. So we will we can put out a calendar for the budget season and distribute it to Debbie and the board.
Right, and then we'll schedule our workshops.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
I'd like to ask that we have more workshops than we did last year. I'd like to start at the end of September if possible, and find a couple of occasions, because I think last year we really didn't have enough time to really discuss some key issues.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
And I think it would make sense to identify certain departments to examine at each of those workshops instead of trying to go all over the map every time. Maybe identify 3 or 4 that we want to focus on each of those sessions and really dive deep. I think that makes sense.
Not to keep the conversation going, but I sent my thoughts out in an email to the department heads and to the board. So I think that's, my concerns are outlined there.
Okay.
I think what I would be very helpful for me is if each of you can look at your calendars for the end of September and October and November and give me windows of availability so that I can cross-reference and find out where we have critical mass that you're willing to workshop.
Okay, excellent idea. Since you're up there, Dave,
There's nothing really new to report with the tax receivables. I mean, we are on target with our collections. As you know, the new class of NREM was as of July 31st, and there was 25 new NREM properties. Actually, one of those properties that's listed on the last page of the report, one of those properties paid in full at the end of July, so we are now down to 24. There are 3 properties left over from the class of 16, and as the supervisor updated me, 2 of those properties we're looking to try to sell by the end of the year and get the money, get the funds for those.
yeah,
So,
I spoke to Ms. Tartaglia yesterday about it, that there is publication, and as soon as the time period has elapsed for us to serve a motion, he will be serving a motion on that day. So we will be moving it as fast as possible.
I mean, having the properties sold by the owner is probably ideal for us because we don't want to see anyone lose out big time, but we do want to collect our money.
This is a commercial property, so
Okay.
there's no worry that we're going to throw some little old lady out on the street. And as I think you've just suggested, Lindsay, you know, they need to pay their taxes. Mr. Mecca will be happy to receive their taxes should they come forth with all the penalties and interest, correct, Mr. Mecca? Overjoyed. Failing that, they will be sold.
That's it.
and just so you know, when someone's in REM,
Yeah.
that's 3 years worth of back.
Right.
Yeah, no, I
There's
understand.
plenty of notification prior and
Right.
ongoing
I understand.
with those taxpayers, so.
Nick sends out plenty of notices, so it's not that they are unaware. Okay. Mr. Mecker, do you have anything other than your submitted report, sir?
Two quick announcements, if you would, Mr. Supervisor, members of the Town Council. 3 weeks ago, we mailed out $1.4 million in one-year-old taxes. So far, we have 350,000 has come in.
You mean you mailed out, you sent collection letters?
That they're a year
Yes.
old. And if they don't come in within the next couple of weeks, by law, we have to file liens on their property, which will be done if they do not pay on time. Secondly, the bill is out for the school. Everyone should have got their bill. If you did not, please call the office. And I ask you to please look at the back of the bill. There is an awful lot of information on there. There is your school district rates, your school district assessed values, homestead, non-homestead, the total levy, and plus the chart telling you what the penalties are. We also, hopefully by tomorrow, we worked on this for the last 2 days, all bills will be online. So now you can go out there and get your whole year's taxes, your county bill, your village bill, and your school bill. You can look at our website, at the tax office, and you'll find them out there. This is one thing that's very good for real estate people. This might stop them from calling us to find out about the taxes on a property. They can go online and find it out for themselves. So, okay, any questions for me?
Terrific. Thank you, Nick. Terrific.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you have submitted your report. Do you have
Right.
anything to add?
Yes, I'd like to, on behalf of the Superintendent of Highways, he's been hospitalized in Arizona, and
Oh.
he's having heart problems.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
And,
that.
he was released today, but he's really not up to par right now. He's recuperating, and otherwise he would have had the report. I did email everyone on Friday. I'm not sure if they got the message, but
Thank you.
He
Thank you,
sends his
Hope.
regards, and he hopes to be on the mend.
All right.
I submitted my report, but I also want to mention something else. On behalf of the Columbus Day Parade Committee, inviting all of you to participate in the parade on October 8th. And the lineup is at the corner of Hawthorne and Westchester Avenue at 1:30. The parade steps off at 2 o'clock. And anyone out there in the public that has not received a questionnaire, and any of the children from the schools, they were all mailed out. We're anxious to have everyone participate, or anyone from an organization or a church. So kindly, you could get in touch with me at the town clerk's office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hope. I think that was the longest report you've given since I've been the supervisor. Thank you. Debbie, while we're talking about the highway report, would you just bring us up to date on the Hillside Avenue Bridge? I know we have an upcoming meeting, unless you want to do it, Tommy.
No, it's
So as many of you know, the Hillside Avenue Bridge is co-owned by the town of Rye, the town of Mamaroneck, and the village of Mamaroneck. We received a grant from Bridge New York which is going to pay the lion's share of the cost of replacing this bridge. The village of Mamaroneck is lead agency and has the process is proceeding. The the consultant has been engaged, and Tom Nardi and myself have been attending a monthly progress meeting. We'll be doing so again first thing tomorrow morning. And this project is going to be presented to the public on October 23rd at 7:30 p.m. At just before, or just as the council for the Village of Mamaroneck begins its meeting. If anybody would like to attend.
That's
October 23rd.
October 23rd, yes.
Okay.
Monday, October 23rd.
At 7 p.m.?
7:30 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. Comments from council persons? Anybody?
I'd just like to say that, we had the good fortune to be at Crawford Park last week? Last Sunday?
Last Sunday.
For a ribbon cutting, and it was really great to see the entire community come out, enjoy our new playground, our new park. Kudos to the staff for putting together such a wonderful event, and it was a really nice day, and I think it's a testament to the good work that we've put into Crawford and will continue to put into Crawford in its transformation to a true community center. So, very nice day. Nice job, everybody.
Thank you, Tony. Lindsay, anything?
I want to just agree with what Tony said. It's really wonderful to see how much the community has had the opportunity to enjoy that park, and the wonderful sensory garden. It really turned out to be such an asset for everyone. Additionally, I wanted to just let our highway superintendent know that my thoughts are with him. I didn't realize he was under the weather, so to speak, and just wish everyone who celebrates a Happy New Year.
And I like to.
It still carries.
You did. Okay. I'll do it again anyway.
Okay.
Just like to wish John, fast recovery. And also, like on the note with Crawford Park, I'd like to thank Longfords for giving us the ice cream and stuff, and for Mike Tolentino and Bill Taylor for performing for the whole time. It was a great day, a lot of people, and that's basically it. It's really nice to see the kids enjoy the park.
That's the best part, watching the kids enjoy the park. Billy, do you want to go, and then I'll finish up?
Yeah, certainly. So we do have a lot of events on the calendar coming up. Sarah, did you speak about the pumpkin decorating? You did? The Rye Town Park meeting. So we have that's coming up. What's the date? October 22nd, we have the pumpkin decorating. It's an event that I've never participated in around here, but I have participated with, throughout several counties. And it's, believe it or not, it's a multi-generational event. Grandparents, parents, children, they all come out together. It's a great opportunity, and I'm glad that the town of Rice and Surrey taken that up. That's a great opportunity, and especially to be the first. So that's important. So no pressure, a little pressure. We also have Walk to School Day coming up, which is going to be October 4th, and the Rye Town Board usually comes out with great support, and we'll be looking to have that again. And then obviously the Columbus Day Parade. And that being said, I look forward to going into budget season and making a great opportunity happen for financially for 2018.
Billy, you are the only one that's looking forward to going into budget season.
I want to hear more about his pumpkin decorating career. Now I'm interested.
It's exciting. It really truly
Multiple counties this has spanned, so.
It's a big deal.
Is this international or regional?
No, it's just it's something that it's a way that anyone can give back to a community with the pumpkin decorating, and it's really one of the first, other than children, your artwork displayed at the school, but this is an opportunity for children to decorate a pumpkin, and then it's on display, and they're kind of judged, and it starts with kindergartners. I think it's a great opportunity.
It is.
We expect you guys to be out there at Rye Town Park on October 22nd painting your pumpkins.
Was that 7
10
a.m.?
10 a.m. at Rye Town Park.
I'm just going to warn everyone, I come from a family of very talented artists. And somehow the genes skipped over me. I can do stick figures.
All right.
You were throwing down there.
No.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought so too. Nope. I was like, oh,
I thought I was going to hear a challenge on that one.
No, I will admit I'm talentless.
All right. I want to thank everybody involved in the Crawford Park ribbon cutting, in the design of the playground, the sensory garden, and the pavilion. The entire staff, and of course, at the ribbon cutting ceremony, Hope and Sarah and Brenda, and of course Debbie were all terrific. And thanking the entire council for their support and vision in going forward with the Crawford Park renovation is really wonderful. I think that we're really on our way with that, and for those of you who are here for the Rye Town Park meeting earlier, we're starting to move forward on our capital projects there too. So things are looking forward. And before we adjourn, I would just like to wish everybody who celebrates a happy and a healthy New Year. And one more item on the agenda. I will not be here for the next meeting. Deputy Supervisor Bill Villanova will be chairing, and Debbie and Jeff will be absent as well. So you have your work cut out for you, Bill and Hope.
We're to crank it right out.
Okay. And Debbie, it says on the agenda that the next meeting's at Rhinebeck High School. That is no longer true, correct?
That is correct.
Is that at Portchester courtroom?
It's my belief that it'll be in Portchester. I'm going to reconfirm with that tomorrow.
Okay, terrific.
But we have the dates are pre-reserved with the Portchester court, so we should be fine.
Okay. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
All right.